everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. As you can see from this title's video, this is going to be my second trimester update. Now this video is about a month overdue. I kept thinking I was gonna film it and the days, the weeks just got away from me, the month, I guess. So I'm actually today 33 weeks and so like fully into the third final trimester. But I still want to film this video because I actually take notes during the trimester so I can make sure that I'm just talking about the second rather than like the third that I've been in for the last 5 weeks. And I debated just skipping this video, but at the same time, I think it's so fun to look back on it. And then also I do think it's helpful when you're pregnant to hear about others' experiences. I love watching these videos. When I was pregnant, before I was even pregnant, I loved watching these videos. So yeah, I decided I'd film it anyway. You will see my final trimester update video in probably 5 or so weeks because I like to film it before I hit that 40-week mark because you just never really know when you're going to go into labor or be induced or have a C-section like I did with the Jude girl. But yeah, let's just get into it rather than me rambling. So the first thing I wrote down was that my headaches came back at about 17.5 weeks. If you remember from my first trimester video, I mentioned that one of my biggest symptoms were headaches. I had the same thing with Jude. It's very annoying for me because in my regular day-to-day life when I'm not pregnant, I actually never get headaches. I can probably recall getting 1 or 2 headaches in my life, not including hangovers, that's separate, but just like random headaches that occur. It's just not something that I have. So to get headaches so severely during pregnancy, it just that much worse. And for a while I wasn't getting them and then they came back around 17 weeks as I said. And I actually mentioned it to one of the midwives at the doctors I go to. I go to a practice that's like OBs and midwives, and so like earlier on in your pregnancy you see mostly the midwives, and then as you get later on you start seeing the OBs. And she was like, okay, well, like when do you eat breakfast and then when do you eat lunch? And I was like, well, I usually eat breakfast probably around like 8:30 and I don't eat again until around 12:30 usually. And that is because I have Jude girl running around, and at this time she wasn't even 1.5 yet. Like she was probably 15, probably like 14, 15 months. And if you are a stay-at-home mom, especially like if your child doesn't go to any sort of daycare, you know that just like feeding yourself is not at the top of your list. After I eat breakfast, and I actually I have some breakfast here, I eat breakfast before I take over with Jude. Corey is with Jude until like 8:39 during the week, and then when she goes down at 12:30 is when I sit down and have my lunch. So she recommended that I actually try and make sure that I'm eating some kind of snack at the very minimum in between that time, because what was probably happening to cause my headaches was too big of a drop in my blood sugar. So I've been definitely doing better at that. I'm not perfect, but I try my best to eat something like around 10:30 if I can. The other thing with Jude is that she is a little food thief. I know this is common with toddlers, but I don't know. I feel like Jude is a special case because she also likes most food, or like she'll pretend she likes the food if you're eating it. And so if I'm with her and I'm trying to eat something, like most of the time she's gonna eat it anyway. So like it just doesn't work. The times that I'm really able to get a good snack in is if like we're driving and I brought something with me, or if I give her a snack and like I eat my snack quick enough so that she doesn't get it. I'm actually gonna take a sip of my smoothie now. But yeah, the headaches definitely started to get better towards the end of the second trimester as I started to get better eating snacks. They definitely still came sometimes, and that was actually usually an indicator to me that I hadn't eaten enough that day. Something that I spoke about on my Instagram, but I can't remember if I mentioned in my first trimester video. I am a pregnant person and I don't know how unusual this is, but I eat less when I'm pregnant than when I'm not. It is just like, and this is why I talk about my Instagram. It's easier for me to eat intuitively when I'm actually pregnant because, for example, when I'm not pregnant, like if I serve myself a certain amount of food, for whatever reason, I convince myself like I have to finish what's on my plate most of the time unless I'm like absolutely stuffed. But when I'm pregnant, like once I'm full, like that's it. Like I'm not putting another bite in my mouth because I already feel full like most of the time because I have a big baby in my stomach taking up room. Not like actually in my organ stomach, but like the feeling, it kind of feels like you're just bloated all the time. You know when you're super bloated and you don't really feel like eating because it just is uncomfortable. That's how I feel. I also tend to gravitate towards more nutritionally dense food. I would say I eat like most of the time when I'm not pregnant also, I eat mostly nutritionally dense food, but especially when I'm pregnant, I'm already not feeling my best. So I gravitate towards foods that I know are gonna make me feel good. For example, a smoothie. A smoothie has never upset my stomach, made me feel bad. So I crave them a lot while I'm pregnant. I crave them a lot when I was pregnant with Jude. When I was pregnant with Jude, craved a lot of salads. I haven't been as big of a salad girly during baby boy's pregnancy. But definitely still like loving fruits, loving veggies. This pregnancy, which I guess is another update, at the beginning of my pregnancy, I was really craving red meat, and then during the second trimester, like red meat was just not it, like I wasn't craving it. And so that was like my main protein source during the first trimester. During the second trimester, I'd say I was getting more protein from like Greek yogurt, eggs, chicken, which I could not eat chicken when I was pregnant with Jude. It just did not sound good at all, but I haven't had that aversion during baby boy's pregnancy. The next thing I wrote down was that I was pleased with my workout cadence. I heavily slowed down once I hit 24 weeks. I was working out like maybe only 2 to 3 times a week versus before that I was, I think on average, hitting 3 to 4. I mentioned during my first trimester that I had taken a break from solid core, which is reformer Pilates, and then I got back into it. I ended up doing solid core until 28 weeks, which was my goal. I'm very happy I hit my goal. I actually ended up stopping, like not my last class. I didn't realize it was my last class because I had planned to go at least 1 more week, because with my membership you can pause it, but like no one had gotten back to me. So I was like, okay, well, if I'm already gonna pay for it, I'm gonna keep going. But then someone ended up getting back to me. They actually refunded me for the month. And the last week that I could have gone before they refunded me, I was just so tired that day. Like it was just not happening. If you have tried solid core, and I think any reformer Pilates, but solid core especially, like it's meant to be quite hard. You just know it's gonna be difficult, and if you don't have the energy for it, it is just, it's not fun. And so I had to pass that week. And so yeah, I didn't get to like fully embrace and soak in my last week, which is a little bit sad, but it's all right. Next thing I wrote down was that my bump is getting very big. I will do a bump date at the end of this video, but keep in mind, again, this video is late, so that my bump date now is actually 33 weeks. If you want to see a more updated bump date, that would be on the thumbnail. Compared with Jude, I would say with Jude girl, I had a stomach, but like not really until probably 24 to like 28 weeks was when I really started to see a lot of growth. Versus with baby boy, I feel like the growth was immediate. By like 12 weeks, I could definitely see something, and the growth continued. And now I'm very big, but like, you can hear Jude coughing. Now I'm still quite big. I feel like I look like full term already and have for a while, but the growth has slowed down. Like it's not as accelerated as it was with Jude when I went from like having a very small bump to like being so big within a matter of weeks. I feel like every week I'm slowly growing. But I actually think, even though baby boy is tracking smaller than Jude, I do think my stomach is bigger now. It's hard to tell because baby boy is sitting so much lower than Jude ever did. Jude probably got to this level of lowness like when I was actually in labor, and then she went back up. But that's another story. You could go back to like my labor video with Jude girl. But she just never sat this low. Baby boy started off this low. I feel like he just continues to get lower and lower. And so it's hard to compare bellies that way, because my belly was like fully round with Jude versus it like I don't have anything and then it's like boom. Another thing with me is I'm a very like belly out pregnant person. I feel like a lot of people get like wider and out, and so they're, when you look at like them from the side, it's not as exaggerated, but I don't get any wider when I'm pregnant. With baby boy, I've gotten like slightly wider, maybe like a centimeter on each side, like very slight. With Jude, I didn't get wider at all. If anything, I probably actually got more narrow. And so I feel like that also makes my bump look bigger, because it's just like, bloop, like just straight out. Because like even if you're looking at me from like up here, it doesn't look like I'm pregnant. I can go up a little and you're like, no, not really. And like still, it doesn't look pregnant. And then well, from this angle, you actually can't tell that well. I'll show my bump later, as I said. Next thing I wrote was that I started to feel baby boy move at, I'm pretty sure 11 weeks, but the midwife told me that it's not possible. Who knows for sure? Maybe they just say that because it's not common, but like I'm quite in tune with my body. One, it's my second baby. Two, I'm quite in tune with my body. I weightlifted for a very long time, and I feel like to get into weightlifting and like the muscle mind connection, like you just have to be very in tune with your body and know what's going on. And I am just so sure I felt him by like 11 weeks, but definitely felt him much more and like often and like distinct by 17 weeks, which I feel like is definitely still early-ish. With both Jude and baby boy, I've had is it posterior? Whichever placenta like allows you to feel your baby sooner because like nothing's blocking. I had that. I think it's posterior. Now I'm confusing myself, but yeah, I think posterior placenta. So that has allowed me to feel them earlier. I wrote down a few cravings I've been having: sandwiches, soups, dumplings. If you've never had the soup dumplings from Trader Joe's, you have to get them. They're so good, so easy. I like them with the Trader Joe's sweet and sour sauce. I think it's like either called sweet and sour or sweet chili sauce, something like that. It's in like a pinkish red bottle. Smoothies, as I said. Smoothies is something that no matter how nauseous, like terrible I'm feeling, I can always go to because I just know it's something about smoothies being like cold and refreshing, but then also filling, but then like also light at the same time. It is just the perfect combination for when you're pregnant. I think smoothies and fruit in general is actually a common pregnancy craving. The next thing I wrote down is that with Jude, I got acne all over my face. I don't have acne prone skin. Like I'll get like a spot here or there. And then actually I get, pregnancy brain is real. I can't remember what it's called. Yeah, like I get like fungal acne on my forehead. So like the little dots. But with baby boy, I've like, my skin is quite clear, if anything. Now it's getting like a little bit funky. You gonna sit here? Oh, thank you. Corey brought me a piece of sourdough with peanut butter and jelly. As I said, I like sandwiches. I do like peanut butter and jelly when I'm pregnant too. So now I want to wrap this video up quickly so I can eat it. But yeah, with Jude, I got acne all over my face. By far the worst I've ever had it. As I said, I've had like, I'll get like a spot or two. But with baby boy, I've not gotten bad acne. I've gotten like, again, a spot or two. I see more spots coming now that I'm reaching the end, but nothing near what I have with Jude. It's like a old midwife's tale that when you have a girl, they steal your beauty, which is like, not the greatest of sayings, because that's not to say like if you have acne you're not beautiful, but I think the saying is just saying like whatever your normal is, the girl, when you're pregnant with a girl, like it changes. You know what, it was true for me, because to not be like normally have acne and then to go from like how much acne I had, Jude did a number on me. Baby boy has not. But one thing I have gotten, and I don't know how much it will show on the video, I've gotten a lot of chest acne, and now it's just a bunch of dark spots. I also had that with Jude, and the dark spots went away after like 3-4 months after being pregnant. I'm not that bothered by it. I rather have this than on my face. And then I've also gotten a lot of back acne. Same thing with Jude. The only thing baby boy has allowed me to avoid is my face, and we thank him for it. Let's see. I have that my linea negra line was not as dark as it was with Jude, but started getting darker post 25 weeks. That I could see, okay, I did write down posterior placenta both times. I could see movements, Jude. I could see movements outside of my belly, like looking at it. I could see baby boy moving around 21 weeks. And I don't think I was able to see Jude moving outside my belly until about 24 weeks, which is interesting because Jude has tracked bigger than baby boy. But I do think he's actually sitting even more forward and out than Jude, because I remember at 21 weeks his kicks woke me up, which just like never happened with Jude. I don't think Jude's kicks ever woke me up until like 28 weeks at earliest. or he just is a little strong guy in there. I don't know what's going on, but Jude is quite strong. So if we have a baby that is stronger than Jude, I'm scared because this girl is very, very strong. The last few things I wrote down, and I forgot to grab it from upstairs, so maybe I'll include like a little screenshot of it. I've been using Belly Balm from Summer Fridays. I think I started using it around probably 10 weeks, much earlier than I started using any Belly Balm when I was pregnant with Jude, because as I said, like my belly wasn't really growing as fast with Jude versus with baby boy. My belly grew like immediately, and they say that's common. Like as you go on with pregnancies, your body like remembers, and so your uterus like automatically stretches. So yeah, I use a Belly Balm, and it's not even to like avoid stretch marks, because here's the thing: if you're gonna get stretch marks, you're gonna get stretch marks. You can do whatever you want and spend money on all the best creams, but like if that's what your body's gonna do, it's what your body's gonna do. Stretch marks are often genetic, so if your mom had stretch marks during pregnancy or even before, you are likely going to get them as well. I've never been hugely bothered by stretch marks because I've had stretch marks since like before I hit puberty even, and then even more when I hit puberty. And I always try to remind myself, so a lot of guys that actually work out will get stretch marks on their arms. I do have stretch marks on my arms from like getting bigger arms, and they are not bothered by them at all. Like they do not care. But for some reason, when women get stretch marks, it is like the biggest deal in the world. They're advertising things to get rid of stretch marks over and over and over again to women, and it's like society is constantly trying to convince women that things that are very normal and not a big deal are like wrong with us, but when like it happens to men, it's fine. Like they shouldn't be bothered by it. I'm not going to act like I love my stretch marks. Sometimes I'll see like posts by women like, my tiger stripes, like I love them. That is so amazing. If that's how you feel, that's so great, and I think you should be pushing that out to make women feel better. But I'm not going to lie and say like I look at them and I'm like, yes, like love it, love it, love it. It's just kind of something, and I think this is what body neutrality goes to. Like I see them, I'm like, there they are. Like it's just like it's not that big of a deal. It's like you don't have to love every single part of your body, but that doesn't mean the only other option is to hate it. Like some things you can just be like, that's fine. Like I don't look at my feet and I'm like, yes, like love them, love them, love them. But like I also don't hate them. They're just my feet. Like, and that's how I feel about stretch marks. They're there. Would it be great to not get another one? Sure. If I get another one, not the biggest deal in the world. But yeah, I'll show when I show my belly that I do have stretch marks on my belly. You can't see them that well. It depends on the lighting, and then also they mostly went away with Jude after a few months. I don't know if they'll go away again because like they're in the same exact spot, so they're probably gonna be darker. Who knows, who really cares? I think the last thing I have, so around this point, around actually 28 weeks, I had gained about 7 to 8 pounds. That is low for most people. For me, it is fine. We have big babies with Jude. I actually lost like 15 pounds in my first trimester and then didn't end up gaining all that weight back until like the end. That is quite low for most people. For me, it's fine. We have big babies, and even with not gaining that much weight, we have big babies, so my doctors have not been concerned. At 28 weeks, baby boy was 3 pounds exactly, according to like their estimates. Obviously, they're not completely correct, but that's the only thing we can go off of. And then the last thing I wrote was that I had a glucose test. I tested early in December because my whole dad's side of the family has like diabetes issues. And so they tested me early in December, and my blood came back at 80. My blood glucose test came back at 85. And then I tested again, like right around I think I said a couple weeks ago. So right around 26 to 28 weeks, and my blood glucose test was 108. And I think the cutoff for when they make you do the 3-hour test is 130 or 140. I don't know exactly because I've never even gotten close to that, so I haven't like asked. But yeah, so I've been very lucky to not have gestational diabetes either time. If you have gestational diabetes, know that it's like nothing in your control. It's actually, I never knew this. My friend that's a nurse told me this. It's actually how your body interacts with your baby, so like you really can't control it. So before we go, I will do the bump date as promised. I feel like this is washed out. Okay, so this is what my belly looks like from the front. And as I said, like I can tell I've gotten a little wider because normally I don't have like anything to even hold at the side, but now I have some stuff to hold at the side. So my belly looks like from the front. From the side, again, this is 33 weeks, not 28, because I should have filmed this a while ago, but that's what we have. My camera's about to run out of space. and this girl is getting impatient. She's asking for water. She's going, wow. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this video here. I hope it was helpful. I hope you liked hearing about my second trimester update. Again, stay tuned shortly for the third trimester update. But yeah, I hope this video was helpful and I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me. Bye.